Okay, so now we're going to use the same place value board and the place value discs, but now we're going to bring in the decimals. And you'll see with our decimals that we have decimal tiles that are squares to distinguish the difference between our whole numbers and our decimals. So again, we're going to start with addition, and when we're adding two parts to make a
whole.
So we're going to start by building the first part, which is
16, and, because now I've got a part of a number, and, okay, I need 3/10. So these are my tenths, and this underline thing is really important so I know which way I'm going. 3/10 and 9/100.
So while you're building that, if I asked you to read that number, how would you correctly read that number?
16 and 39/100. And I always tell my kids a point is a place on a plane. And that they should watch the news at night and tally how many times numbers are said incorrectly. But don't do it with your parents, that's just rude.
So we have 16 and 39/100. Now, when we're adding, using the standard algorithm, where do we begin to add?
All the way over here.
All the way over to the right. So what place are we in when we're all the way to the right on this problem?
In our hundredths.
In our hundredths place. So how many hundredths were in the first part?
9.
And how many hundredths do we have to add for the second part?
6 more.
6 more.
1.
And again, once they fill that 10 frame, they put the additional ones down at the bottom. So now when we had 9 hundredths and we added 6 hundredths, how many hundredths did we end up with?
I've got 15 hundredths.
15 hundredths in our hundredths place. So can I record 15 in my hundredths place?
You can only record one digit in a place.
So what do we need to do?
So I need to take 10 of these, and I'm going to put them up here.
Why?
Because 10 hundredths equals 1/10. So I could trade this for a tenth.
So we're going to trade those 10 hundredths for 1/10.
So these 5 can now scoot into here.
So when we look at that, when we have 1/10 and 5 hundredths, what is that value?
15 hundredths.
So this, do we have the same value as when we were showing it as 15 hundredths?
Yes, because 15 hundredths would look like that. So it would be 1 in the tenths place and 5 in the hundredths place.
So now we need to show that recording.
So I'm going to put the 5 in the hundredths place and the 1 in the tenths place.
And so
Oh,
now,
these wipe off so nicely.
and so now what are we going to do with that 1/10 that we just regrouped?
Well, 1/10 and 3/10 is 4/10. And I need to add 1 more tenth. So this is now 5/10.
Okay, do we have to regroup anything?
No, I've got plenty of space.
Now in our problem, what do we need to make sure that since we're moving from squares to circles or from decimals to whole numbers, what do we need to make sure we put into our answer?
I've got to have my decimal point there because I'm going from a part of a number to my wholes.
Okay, so now if we look in the ones place in the number, how many ones are in the ones place?
I've got 6 ones, and now I need to add 8 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ones.
So in our ones place, how many total ones do we have?
14 ones.
14 ones. Can we record 14 ones in our ones place?
I can only have one digit, so I want to keep the 4 ones. And I'm going to take these 10, scoot them over here, and change this for a 10.
So did our value change?
10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Nope, stayed the same.
Our value stayed the same. So now show me the recording.
So I have 4 ones, and then I put a 10 over here, but now I can scoot it down.
Okay, so now how many more 10s do we need to add?
So I've got those 2 10s, and I need 2 more 10s. So now I've got 2 tens plus 2 tens is 4 tens. So now I have 44 and 55 hundredths.